A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A2theK Wrestling Show, where A2theK is running wild, brother.
I got this. So, fans, as you all know, Carl, since the dawn of this podcast, in fact, since he became a wrestling fan, has hated one wrestler in particular.
Yep.
Mr. Shawn Eugene Michaels, right? Now,
I wish, is his name Eugene? I'd hate more if his name was Eugene.
I don't know. No, well, it's all fake names. I can add one to it as well. Mr. Michael Hickenbottom.
Yeah.
Right. Carl has never been a fan of this particular wrestler. Now, let's be honest. You've been man enough to admit this guy's got some credentials, right? Mm-hmm. You've been man enough to admit that.
Yeah.
But you don't like him.
Nope.
Never have.
Nope.
No. And there's one thing that I agree with Carl on here, right? I don't have the same hatred for Shawn, right? I don't, right? But there's one thing I do agree with Carl on, is that he's not Mr. WrestleMania.
He's not.
He's not. You can't just arbitrarily put a title on someone and say, you're Mr. WrestleMania. Why? Right? He's had some good WrestleMania matches, yes. But we decided this week to indulge Carl's hatred. And let's look at the facts a little bit. And let's find out who actually should be Mr. WrestleMania.
Fucking love it. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Any opportunity I can have to dethrone Shawn Michaels in any way, shape, or form, you know, I'm all about that shit.
So, what we're going to try and look at, Carl, to be fair, because there isn't really a rule on what makes a man Mr. WrestleMania.
There's no special recipe or ingredients.
So we tried to be as fair as possible, because Shawn could have topped any of these areas if he'd have tried, but he didn't.
Exactly.
Right. So let's look at most matches for starters. So who's had the most matches at WrestleMania?
Must be Shawn, mustn't it? Must be Shawn.
Mr. WrestleMania, of course.
Well, no, he's not even in the top three, is he?
Oh, of course he's fucking not.
Because coming in at number 3 is Randy Orton with 18 matches. Right?
A solid candidate for Mr. WrestleMania, to be fair.
Yeah. Coming in at number 2, Triple H. Do you know?
His own best friend is now more qualified.
Yeah. And then coming in at number 1 with 27 matches is the dead man himself, The Undertaker. Yeah. So how can Shawn Michaels be Mr. WrestleMania when he's not even been at the most WrestleManias, Anthony?
So he's done less WrestleManias than a few others.
Yeah.
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 So he doesn't fit the bill to be Mr. WrestleMania for that.
Nope.
So let's start with this one. So in terms of most matches, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's difficult to not give The Undertaker like the option to be Mr. WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that he's Mr. Deadman, right, it kind of trumps all that a little bit. But we'll talk about the streak a little bit later. But, you know, Undertaker inevitably is going to be a massive contender for the real Mr. WrestleMania because of his historic run.
Well, like, you know, you think of WrestleMania, what do you think of? You think of Undertaker? Whether you're thinking of his streak, whatever. You know, who is Mr. WrestleMania to you?
Well, exactly.
It's not Shawn.
Well, let's be fair, right? So, okay, so Shawn may not have had the most matches at WrestleMania. Mm. But surely he's done a lot of main events at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, he must have.
Yeah, so
he's probably done the most, yeah.
I mean, Mr. WrestleMania, you'd expect, had been in the most main events, surely.
No, so Shawn's done 5, which it's been 5 main events, so okay, fair play. Puts him on, you know, level footing with the likes of The Rock.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar, John Cena, The Undertaker himself.
So all really talented, really up there guys.
Yeah.
But none of them are at the top for the most main events, are they?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, who's higher than that? So Roman Reigns has been in 6 main events, Anthony. Yeah, about to be 7.
About to be 7. Like, without a doubt, win or lose, he's going to be in that main event.
Exactly. So, you know, Roman's been in more than the likes of Shawn.
Yeah.
Triple H himself, who was in the other list as well.
His best friend seems to be kicking his ass right now.
7 main events at WrestleMania. So, just, you know. And who's top of that list, Anthony? It's Hulk Hogan. 8 WrestleMania main events for the Hulkster. Yeah.
I'm sure Hulk could probably consider himself Mr. Wrestling in all fairness.
This is very true. But once again, the facts don't lie. And the facts don't care about your feelings, Shawn. Because, once again, it proves that, you know, how can you be Mr. WrestleMania? You have not had the most matches.
I love this segment.
You haven't even had the most main events.
Fuck about everything. I love it.
You know? So
exactly. So most main events goes to Hulk Hogan. But again, look at this name that keeps cropping up of Triple H so far. Mm-hmm. You know? Interesting stuff.
It's hard to argue of the, you know, the WrestleMania pedigree of Triple H.
But before we move on to just however we feel, right? Let's look at, okay, He's not had the most main events.
No.
He's not had the most matches.
No.
But surely he's won an awful lot of WrestleMania. That's something Mr. WrestleMania would do. He'd win at WrestleMania, right?
So of the matches he's had, he's probably won the most.
You expect maybe all, because he's Mr. WrestleMania after all.
Okay.
So where are we standing with this? I mean, surely Shawn is near the top, if not the top.
Well, yeah, this is kind of fascinating, really, because it's not pretty reading for Shawn at all. Actually. So. Should we give Shawn's away first, or should we go through some other records?
I'll tell you what, let's not do Shawn's first.
Okay.
Let's talk about the bottom of the list. Okay. And then we'll work our way up to Shawn.
Okay. So, bottom of this list doesn't mean bad, by the way, but like bottom of people with a lot of wins.
We have to stop at some point, is the point.
So, Randy Savage.
Okay.
Got a record of 7 wins and 4 losses, so he's won 7 times on the grandest stage.
Okay.
Roman Reigns, Anthony, has won 7 times and lost twice. Okay. Randy Orton, who we mentioned before, has won 8 times, but he's actually lost 10.
Okay.
That's a lot, actually.
A bit of an imbalance, yeah.
Kane has won 8 times and has lost 9.
I mean, I feel like he needs to rock up and get another win.
Oh, yeah. He needs to just even that bitch out, right? Mm-hmm. The greatest ever. Brett. There's no bias to anything. Impartial journalism. Bret Hart has a WrestleMania record of 8 wins and 6 losses.
Fairly decent ratio.
Yeah. Edge has a record of 8 wins and 5 losses. So, pretty positive there. Hogan, 8 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no contest.
Would be Hogan, wouldn't it? Would be Hogan.
Would be. Triple H, 10 wins at WrestleMania.
God damn.
But he has lost 13.
It's still, that's a lot of matches, man.
Yeah. John Cena also has 10 wins.
Okay.
And has only lost 5.
Damn.
So, pretty good odds there.
You go, John.
But who's that at the top again for most wins at WrestleMania, Anthony? With 25 wins.
People are not going to be shocked by this, are they? Let's be honest.
And only 2 losses. The Undertaker.
With the infamous streak.
And let's point out 2 of them wins were against Mr. Shawn Michaels himself.
Mr. WrestleMania.
Because Shawn... And
we started at the bottom and went right to the top. I didn't hear Shawn mentioned.
Well, you see, Shawn has only got 6 wins.
Okay.
Right? But he's also got 11 losses. So...
God damn. Right.
Just want to throw that out there, that Mr. WrestleMania...
He's behind 10 other people for most wins. Okay.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. So he's not managed to hit any of these lists so far. This is concerning. This is concerning.
So, how on earth can we consider Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania based on them stats?
Looking at your stats alone, and as we start at the top of the show, I don't consider him Mr. WrestleMania. And this is all about who is the real Mr. WrestleMania. And we haven't discussed this beforehand.
No.
You've provided the facts. Right, so everyone knows we're not being unfair to Shawn. He just clearly isn't. Right, who's the real Mr. WrestleMania? I'm gonna put my bid in here.
Go on.
For Triple H.
Wow. Okay.
I know you're probably expecting Undertaker. I think Undertaker is beyond all this petty shit. He doesn't need to be Mr. WrestleMania. He's the phenom, right?
Love this.
I don't know. But Triple H, looking at your stats there, he's consistently across the board. He's had a lot of main events. He's had a lot of matches at WrestleMania in general, and he's had a lot of fucking wins. Yeah, he's took some losses there, but 23 matches overall and 10 wins, that's pretty fucking good.
I mean, to be fair, you're not wrong at all. For me, though, you think of WrestleMania, you think it's the grandest stage of them all, right? Look at our friend Cody Rhodes. All he's wanted to... He's been at WrestleMania. He's never main evented WrestleMania, has he? That's true. The top of the mountain, isn't it? To main event WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And, Shawn has done that 5 times. Fair play to him. But so's The Rock. So's Brock Lesnar. So's John Cena. And so has Undertaker. So really, right? But you'd have to argue early Mr. WrestleMania is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like middle WrestleMania is Triple H.
Yeah.
And now the current Mr. WrestleMania is Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Kind of has to be.
If you could only give one person that title, though, are you with me on the Triple H front? Or would you have to give it to someone else?
It is hard.
What's pushing me, because I've took Undertaker out of this for my clear bias, right? What's pushing me is the fact that, like, 23 WrestleMania matches.
There's a lot.
It's a fucking lot.
Yeah.
When you look at Undertaker's streak, that's a lot of matches. I know he didn't quite get a streak out of it, but he's rivaling Undertaker for a number of matches.
I mean, to be fair, outside of Undertaker, he's got the most wins at WrestleMania. But it's not just like because he's power hungry. He's also got 13 losses. Then if you think back to some of the biggest WrestleMania moments, he has been right there in the mix of it. He's had 3 WrestleMania matches with Taker at that event. He's obviously put over the likes of, Benoit and people like that in those positions, who, has given the rub at the end of the day, and they've come out as champion. So, he's been in most main event matches he's been in, he's probably lost, and they've been for the title. So it is hard to argue against Mr. Triple H, his best friend. How do you like them apples, Sean?
So, are we able to agree on this? Can we throw the gauntlet down and say it should be Triple H?
Do you know something which I haven't put on here on this list, and it's really hard to measure, is who do we think's had the best matches at WrestleMania? Personally, like if we think back to our love of watching Mania, and the reason I've put Stone Cold Steve Austin on this graphic is for that reason.
Yeah.
So if you think of all the matches Stone Cold has had at Mania, he's been against Shawn in one of them, but he was the one who carried the match because Shawn had a sore back, right? And it was him and Tyson who carried that. Yeah, Stone Cold versus Brett.
Yeah, quality.
The iconic match of him bleeding, made Stone Cold, all that good stuff.
All Crimson Mask, yeah.
Him and The Rock. Is it 3 times at Mania?
Stone Cold's a solid contender then for, like, he's the name you remember them, because outside of The Rock, he's probably the name everyone remembers wrestling-wise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're talking the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania, we've gone through the number of main events, but it's crazy to think what a short stint Austin had in WWE. And the majority of the time he was there, he was main event Mania.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, arguably, if his career had been able to last longer, then he probably would have been Mr. WrestleMania without
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
And, Cena's on this list because, again, if you think of the moments and you think of, when he won his US title against the Big Show, or like, the amount of main event matches that he's also been involved in.
Yeah. I mean, trying to be slightly fair to Shawn, like, he's been involved in memorable moments, as much as you said that he was carried in the Stone Cold situation. Both Undertaker matches were memorable as fuck.
Yeah,
well, to be fair, credit for
that's probably the reason why he gets the name, isn't it, Mr. WrestleMania? If you think of Shawn at Mania, you think of his matches with Undertaker, you think of his Iron Man match with Brett. Was he being
called Mr. WrestleMania before the Undertaker matches? Or was it only since then?
I don't know, to be fair. I think it might have been before.
Okay.
Yeah. But, like, he has, like, the ladder match with Razor, stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Shawn's in the mix.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, as you said...
But should he be Mr. WrestleMania?
Well, yeah, the problem is, as you've said, WWE have just gone, there you go, here's the title of Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah. Never to be contested ever again.
Which, it just doesn't sit right with me.
No, I agree.
And based on the stats...
So okay. We've talked about the fact that it shouldn't be Shawn, right? Whether you love him or hate him, I know you hate him, but whether you love him or hate him, it shouldn't be Shawn, right? Yeah. I've positioned saying it should be Triple H, right? You've mentioned, I love what you said before about, like, it was Hogan, may have been midway Triple H, and it is currently Roman. Okay, so let's talk.
Just to add on that, to complicate it even more, throughout it all, has it been The Undertaker? I don't know you want to take that away because he's already got the streak and stuff. But if you think about it, I talk about generations of Hogan and then Triple H and then Roman.
Yeah, he's just always been there.
Taker's been a constant, hasn't he?
In all fairness. Like, so no one else is connected to Mania in the same way. So arguably he should be. But again, he's beyond that. He doesn't need that shit.
Yeah.
But who would you tag? Because we're saying currently it should be Roman. Who would you tag as the future? I know it's difficult because we don't know who's going to come up. But who would succeed Roman then?
Do you know who I would have said? And I don't know whether it is going to be the case. But again, thinking back to super memorable moments and stuff, Seth Rollins.
Fair. You know what? If somebody turned around and said, yeah, he should be Mr. WrestleMania, like, that's fair. He's not rocked up on any of those lists there, but that cash-in alone is memorable.
And on the same night, he had that amazing RKO. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's had that side of things. He had the Cody moment last year. It was him against Cody, that big return, all the eyeballs were on him. He's got Logan Paul this year.
Which will be popular.
We'll get eyeballs on him, won't it?
Social media sense, yeah.
Depends on how they use him. Because he's fascinating. He should be the future of the company. I know that was the storyline with him and Triple H and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
He should be. So it's going to be fascinating to see. That's why I'm kind of a bit remiss of what happens if Cody does beat Roman, because then you're going to have Cody versus Seth again potentially, and it's like we've seen it so many times.
This is where they probably shouldn't have blew the load on that, really.
Yeah, because I don't know where you go, but for me, I think it could be Seth Rollins. How about yourself?
I like the Seth Rollins show. It's hard to look at the future and go potentially could it be Cody? We don't know where he's going to go after this. I think we're both a bit apprehensive about once this story's told what there is.
Yeah,
but maybe Cody could be the future of it.
Could it be Austin Theory?
I mean, you love Austin Theory.
I love Austin Theory, but again, you think about it.
Your current bait, you haven't mentioned him at all, Mr. Drew McIntyre. I think he could ever be iconically connected to WrestleMania.
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
And it's a shame because I love Drew, but I just think
he'll always be our COVID mania.
He will. And I'm gutted for him because he deserves so much more, and the fans turned on him before. You know what I mean? He even had the chance, but I think, based on his age and based on everything else going on, I just can't see it. But Theory, to be fair, he was involved with the Pat McAfee, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold stuff last year. Yeah. This year he's going up against Cena. It's a pretty fucking strong resume to start.
It's a good starting point, and he is starting in the business. So, Theory, honestly, as much as I joke at you like him almost unnecessarily because he hasn't done anything yet, I would agree with you. He could be the future of the business.
And he got an eye for talent. I'm telling you, this guy, there's reasons why he's going up against John Cena. There is parallels there with that, and obviously it's hard you can't just create lightning in a bottle twice on something like that. But if you think back to prototype Cena, who came in and then was ruthless aggression and then nearly got fired, he just has to find that thing. Okay,
no, I agree. I think if he gets the right thing, and I actually think the direction they're in now is actually a lot better than it was. Mm-hmm. So the potential is definitely there. I don't know if we'll be able to cover this one, but I'll try. And I'll give you my example as to why I think this might be a question for you. Is there anyone you think you thought should have been Mr. WrestleMania and it just kind of never culminated? And the reason I ask is because I feel like, and there's no disrespect to him, super talented guy, and will continue to be, but I feel like there was a point when Bray Wyatt felt like he was going to be the guy and would have been synonymous like that. During COVID, that match they put on, the Firefly Funhouse match was just it's memorable as fuck. It's iconic. He was super over as the Fiend, absolute merchandising machine, champion, facing some of the best, and could have had an absolute fucking run until Goldberg fucking decided to end that. But it felt like he maybe could have been the guy and could have been legitimately in this conversation right now. He doesn't come up at all yet, but I feel like there's a reason for that. Obviously the absences, the issues, but the fact that now there doesn't seem to be a direction. Yeah. For him. I want to go for Bobby Lashley for no reason at all. But so that's my example as to the question is I feel like Bray Wyatt may have been a contender at one point and is kind of through circumstance no longer in the conversation. Is there anyone you feel that had all the potential in the world that never quite panned out?
I mean, Austin's one of them. Because obviously the injuries, injuries got too much.
The injury side of things.
So I think he would have gone on to have more. Brett if he hadn't left. Hogan if he hadn't left. You know what I mean?
Seems to be a lot of issues there.
So it's tough. I think
this is where the question might not have been perfect because like you say, there's Hogan spat his dummy out and so on. So it's hard to know what would have happened if they'd have stayed. We're almost on the realms of delving into a what if.
Yeah. I mean, it's mad to think about Randy Orton's history. Yeah. Because, when we saw that mad stat before of how many manias he's been in, it's like, how's that even possible?
It's like everyone's quietly waiting for him to return as well. And you go, well, could it be Mania?
Yeah. But I feel like he never ended up being Mr. WrestleMania. We've had this conversation before about Cena and Orton and their kind of parallel. And then you always think of Cena more than you do Orton when you're who was the face of the company. I don't know. As a hell of a career as Randy's had, I feel like he's someone who probably should have and could have been Mr. WrestleMania. You think of the Legends killer and all that kind of stuff he had going on. Yeah. Don't know. Bit of a shame.
It is. Yeah, I never really thought about it like that, but it's a fair point. Yeah, I think he played the villain that well that he was never able to be considered in that way, if you know what I mean.
And I don't want to ruin a potential future segment, so tell me if you don't think we should do it.
Go on.
Who's Mrs. WrestleMania?
You know what? Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
Miss WrestleMania.
That's fair. I mean, obviously we're now moving into Queens of the Rings and stuff like that. Miss WrestleMania, like that is a tough one. You know what? I have to say right now, and without the stats at all, I really don't want to. I really don't want to. But is it Charlotte?
I mean, she's got a pretty impressive record. Obviously, we don't have the stats in front of us, but
we know that she's had some iconic matches at Mania. We know that.
I mean,
I'd be slightly inclined to say is it Becky Lynch.
I was going to say, I know she's not your favourite, but could you put Becky in that mix?
Well, to be honest, I'd sooner, if you asked me, I would sooner give it to Becky Lynch than Charlotte.
Well, she obviously won that.
I feel like Charlotte's got a beat, in all fairness.
Yeah. She won the first. I know it's gone to 2 nights now, so technically it's not the only women's main event, but the real.
Yeah.
No offense, but like the real first women's main event was Becky, wasn't it? So
honestly, like you go into I feel like I'm just listing horsewomen at this point, but like you go, well, like Bayley's like got low key like a really good career record that like it kind of gets overlooked a little bit, to be honest, like compared to like, because I think Banks was more over. Lynch was more over, Charlotte was more over, so I feel like she kind of gets overlooked a little bit. But I might even try and put Bayley in the mix, to be honest with you. But I think if you sat and went through the stats, I think you'd find that Charlotte's just got them beat, in all honesty. As much as I probably don't want to say that.
I'll tell you who could be the Mrs. WrestleMania's Rhea Ripley, potentially.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know where it's going to go. And obviously you've got to kind of shout out to some more of like the OGs from like, times back, because it was so hard to be featured on a WrestleMania card in them times.
In all fairness, yeah.
And obviously you've had the likes of Trish being able to do it.
Listing recent people, because it's like, and I'm not saying, they don't deserve it because it was easier, because I'm not saying it's easier in that sense. But like you say, to get on the card was really fucking difficult back then. So
I mean, we speak all the time about Molly Holly having to shave her head just to get the things that you'd go through to get on there. So yeah, but Trish has got of matches I can think of at a time when women's wrestling wasn't viewed as favourably as it should have been. Trish somehow found her way onto the card. Yeah. So fair play to Trish. No,
Miss WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would say. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Mainly because I got to shit on Shawn Michaels for a good 20 minutes. But I am fascinated to anybody watching this, because I love how because everyone might just go, nah, it's Shawn. Okay.
Just because it is.
Right.
Because we said it was ages ago.
But like, who have we missed? Like, could you put Brock on there?
I don't know.
He's had moments. He's had like the shooting star press landed on his head.
He's the one who ended the streak as well.
He ended the streak. He beat Roman Reigns twice at Mania.
He's a solid contender, to be fair. We've kind of just slept on him there, but But I enjoyed this segment. Who's the real Mr. WrestleMania? So I feel like we should revisit this in some way in the future. Yes. So I'm thinking we'll go for Johnny Wrestling next. Who's the real Johnny Wrestling? I fucking hate that nickname. I really fucking hate that nickname. It's the laziest fucking nickname I've ever heard. It's like going, Dave Football. It's the one thing we know about him. He likes football. Like, why Johnny? Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll do that one next. But I'm fascinated to know. What does everyone else think? Please do let us know either on socials, in the comments, wherever. Fascinated to know.
Indeed.
And if everyone says it's Shawn, then we're just not friends. Yep. And you just have to accept that.
Yeah, that's why Carl wants to know. The minute you comment Shawn, he delete you.
Good luck. So
we kid, of course. We appreciate an open dialogue.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in. We had fun. If you are watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe. Like the video. You don't have to bother with the notification bell. It's cool.
Share it to your friends.
Yeah.
Share it to your bots.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do all that. Any way to get us subscribers, really. We appreciate that. But you should also check out Pro Wrestling TV if you're not watching us on there already, because hell of an app, hell of a network.
Like, not just for us. There's tons of content on there.
There's everything. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna love it.
I guarantee if you download that app and you don't find something enjoyable to watch within the first 5 minutes, then I'll eat my hat. Damn it. So.
No,
we're
he'll eat Jake Hager's
and we're
hat.
enjoyable. Ooh. That's going to stop people from... No one wants that to happen.
That's true.
It's too beautiful of a hat. So, yeah, check out Pro Wrestling TV. You can also check out topropebrewing.com. Get yourself 10% off some of the tastiest beers you've ever seen.
Drink until you can't think.
I love it. That should be a good slogan. And obviously summer's coming up, so get yourself some teas, especially our teas.
Well, especially
Especially our teas, including teas from Alt Wrestling Teas, who make our teas. We'll design 2 teas. Yeah. 2 teas?
And one of Carl's favourites is Predict These.
Yes, it rhymes. So, yeah, get all our merch stuff as well. But, again, thanks for bearing with us. We know we're a few days late this week, but we'll be back for regular scheduled programming this Wednesday, Thursday. We record on a Wednesday, it goes out on Thursday when we can be bothered.
Probably see you on a Thursday. We'll say Thursday because that's when you see it.
Exactly. So we'll see you then. Goodbye.